Yeah, recap Saturday's game. Obviously, 4-game homestand. Great crowd Saturday. Homecoming. Lots of former Rockets back in town. Great day to get a win, and I thought it was a great representation by our student section, our crowd here in the city, and great day for Rocket football. And obviously, pageantry of college football is what makes our game so special, and that was a great day to have it. And to get a win was kind of the icing on the cake there. MVPs from the game, DeQuan Finn was 80% completion percentage on offense, and Northern going into the game, I think, was only giving up 50% completion percentage in the entire season. So to gain the amount of yards we were able to gain, and for him to play at that level, and it was a big lift for our team. A couple guys had outstanding performances on defense. It was great to have Maxon Hook back out there and playing well at a high level, and he was very productive. And but Dallas Gant was our MVP. Good game again for him. He's been very consistent all year long, and obviously that play at the end of the game to get the quarterback on the ground was huge to secure the game. And then Jerwan Newton on special teams recovered an onside kick, and really played a complete game all the way through, offensively and special teams as well. So those are our MVPs. Turn to focus here, going to UMass. I've got to handle the trip this week and go play a team that's playing much better football this year than the team that came in here and played in the Glass Bowl last year, and looking forward to the challenges that the trip will present, and playing a good team this weekend.
Seems like we're in an era of like everything's a referendum on toughness. Like Ryan Dam and the Bulls have their little thing. People talking about DQ last week. Well, why do you think there's so much chatter about how tough or not tough people
I don't know. It's a tough question. Probably part because we're a soft society as a whole. I don't know. It's my personal opinion, and I don't want to get into a bunch of personal opinions here, but just toughness is a question that's always comes up in football. It's a collision sport. It's one of the few that you physically can put your hands on somebody else, and it's cheered, and it's celebrated. So there's definitely an element to it. Define what physical toughness is, and mental toughness, and emotional stability that is required to play our game. I think there's a lot of things that go involved into that. It's rare to find guys that consistently can line up and play and function as the moment heightens and the sense of urgency starts to happen. Very few does their heart rate go down, and they have a calm in the chaos, so to speak. And we have a few guys on our team like that. And some guys stepped up in big moments. So they may not be bone-crushing hits that get clicks and likes, but they're tough moments, and they're certainly clear pictures of what toughness looks like in tough and critical moments.
are? And I mean, DQ obviously that Buffalo hit last year was huge. Gets here 2 weeks ago, comes back and plays the way he did. How do you think he's responded to those types of collisions?
Well, I mean, I think that we err so much on the side of player safety, and you have to in today's game. And nobody comes to watch me coach. Nobody comes to watch, contrary to everybody's belief, the things that go along with football. Like, they come to watch the players play. So we got to keep the players healthy, and we got to keep these guys going in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, there's always, I think, probably a little extra emphasis on are you sure you're okay type of thing, from the medical staff, from the training staff, and once these guys have the exact facts on what it is and what their injury is, and the best plan of attack, and when they're able to come back, and what they're able to play through and what not to play through, and we make the best decision for what it is moving forward. So guys can get back out there and play confident. And if you're a football player and you go out there, you don't have any confidence in what you're doing, it's a recipe for disaster. So I'd say in each guy's case that come back and to play well, they were confident when they were able to do it, to go out there.
Jerwan Newton has 7 touchdowns this year. He's had 4 of the last 2 games. Always seems to be either in the end zone or making a big play downfield. What gives him that skill, ability, whatever, of making big plays and big ones?
Preparation. He's like one of the few guys that comes in here every week and watches individual film with me, and that's not by me chasing him around. That's him asking every Wednesday if he can come in here and steal an hour of my time to sit there with him and go through what it looks like. And that's a small sample size of what it is. I mean, there's multiple times throughout the summer where I can hear that jugs machine going from my office, and I look out the window, and it's him and somebody else, and that's led by him. That's not a coach telling him to do that. That's just, I think, who he is as a player, and who he is really as a human being. I mean, guy's got a lot of responsibilities on his plate that he handles at a high level, and I think what he does away from the field translates to what it should look like on the field. And he's not a rah beat your chest leader type of guy that way that's going to draw a camera to himself all the time. He's a guy that's just going to work really really hard. He's going to say stuff when it matters, and he's got enough stuff to him that when he says something to another player, they respect it because they know how much time and energy that he puts into it.
In terms of the attention to detail, and obviously the game got a little close at the end, but to have that defensive stand, you mentioned the special teams aspect. Just what does it say about the team to be able to execute well when the game's on the line?
Well, I think we've been in 4 or 5 of those opportunities to win the game when the defense has been on the field in the last 3 or 4 years, and we haven't done it. We did it on Saturday, so should be a major confidence boost for those guys that to get it done. I think offensively, it's a situation where we got to fix and we got to take the air out of the ball and not put it on the defense to do that. And there's a couple things in the kicking game in the second half that I thought we were just okay at. Others I thought we were really good at. We returned a couple kickoffs to the 50-yard line in the second half of that game, and those are major field position boosts and momentum boosts if you're able to capitalize and get points. But I think it's just the resolve continues to show up of our team and the resiliency of our team and the connectedness of our guys. They do a good job communicating in tough moments. They do a good job trusting one another that they're going to make a play. And I think the thing I appreciate the most is there's not a bunch of childish reactions to mistakes. It's hey, we got to go over and fix this, and we got to talk to each other, and we don't have it. We have a very limited amount of time to do so. So we got to handle this the right way and get back out there because we're going to have another opportunity to go win the game, and to go do it that says a lot about our team.
You mentioned the return of Max, and the talent aside, what does just his presence back in the lineup do for the team?
Well, I think very similar to what I said about Jerwan. It's a presence of good play, but it's also a presence of consistency, a presence of a communication. It's a bonus out there, and he's one of the guys that makes the other guys around him better, and just by him being out there and being present. So, I think you really find out a lot about guys when they're hurt and when they're injured. I'm glad to see him back out there because I'm tired of watching him walk around and dance around behind me on the sidelines because he's as nervous as the coaches are during the game. So, he wants to be out there. He's chomping at the bit to be there, and he prepares each week like he's going to be the starter even when he wasn't playing. So it's good to see him out there playing and off the sidelines following me around. Right. So.
Go ahead, Kyle.
You're good.
Obviously, you've mentioned heading to UMass, first trip away from home in a month. How do you avoid the letdown of going out of conference play and then coming back into conference play? Like, what challenges does going to UMass present to you guys?
Yep. I think that all these games count as one. And, again, people outside the walls of this building don't think that's true. You're supposed to just show up and everybody's supposed to lay down for you. I get it. But they have scholarships too. They have great coaches too. And that they're going to prepare to play us, and just like we're going to prepare to play them. So you have to take each game the same, approach it the same from a standpoint of what your week looks like. I still believe there's a lot of things here internally that we have to handle. In college football, this is true, regardless of if you play Ohio State, Notre Dame, Illinois, whoever, Texas Southern, it doesn't matter. Somebody that you're playing against this week could be the best player you played against the entire season. And, the naked eye doesn't see that sometimes. The outside fan doesn't see that sometimes. But our guys do, and there's a lot of good football players in this football team. His quarterback's a dynamic threat. He can beat you with his legs. He can throw it over your head if you're not careful. There's good skill players. In the defense, there's a really good defensive tackle. There's a really good corner. There's a really good safety. They're sound at the second level. There's a ton of starts on defense. And they blitz from everywhere every third play. So we have plenty of challenges to avoid a letdown. So we have to have a great week of practice, and we have to do a really good job starting with tomorrow morning, getting a jump on a good practice week.
What team-wise, offensively, you're high in the national rankings. You have individuals that are high in a lot of stats. Like, what piece of the offense is most positive to you or most sustainable throughout the season?
Well, we've had great consistency from the offensive line. I think we're, number one in the country in fewest sacks allowed, and one of them was an intentional grounding that's obviously on the quarterback. So they've done a good job communicating. The quarterback is, both quarterbacks that have played they're hard to sack because they can escape and get away with their legs. And I think they've done a good job playing within the system and, getting the ball out of their hand in a timely fashion. When it requires to check it down to the back, they check it down. So I think that part of it, we've been able to play with good pace and tempo. Kind of keeps the defense off balance at times, I think. But I think I'd point to the offensive line, and everything goes off of that, because if you're able to run the ball effectively, then it sets the table for everything else.
And then Judge Culpepper is in his fifth, maybe even sixth year of college football. He's up there high in sacks in the country. How nice is it to see like a veteran guy like that, who maybe hasn't gotten the stats the last few years that he wanted to kind of be and elevate his game and be a big force on the defense?
Well, I mean, I think it just confirms that karma's a real thing. You just keep adding value and continuing to do the right thing over and over and over and over again. Like what you want to come to you is going to come to you. And some guys they don't get to that point in time, because when it starts to get hard and there's not an instant reward for them, they fade and they fold and they stop working and they eliminate themselves. And you can ask any of these guys, ask them to do one thing, in preseason camp, and it was not to eliminate yourself, and to continue to stay the course, because you can't. There's so many variables in college football that you can't handle. You don't know when guys are going to get hurt. You don't know when adversity is going to come for whatever person or whatever player. And you have to have as many guys ready as possible to play and go in and play efficient ball, because if you don't, it'll cost you. It'll cost you a game, and a game can cost you a season in the world we're living in today. So to see guys like him continually put in the work, continue to do the right thing, continuing to buy into really, really good days, and trust that the process is going to repay them, and to have it repay them, that's why you coach. I mean, that's fulfilling. It's fulfilling for him, but that's more fulfilling for me than anything. Like, that's why you do this. I mean, that's what you want to see people reach their full potential, and when guys do it, that makes you feel good about what you're doing.
This might be a better question for a couple weeks, but you're going to have 3 straight road games here. How much of a mental, physical grind is that to go on the road, be in a hotel every Friday for 3 weeks, bus rides, plane rides?
It's different, obviously, and it's different. You wouldn't ask the question, but I think, to me, there's a little bit of, hey, there's going to be 65 to 70 guys that are going to get on a bus, they're going to get on a plane, and they're going to go play in an environment it's just them. It's just us. Like, there's nobody else. So I kind of like that a little bit. I think that you find out the character of your team a little bit through those moments too. You find out really, when you take them out of their element and take them away, how they're going to act when things get really, really hard. I don't know what kind of crowd UMass will have on Saturday, and I don't really care. I want to see our team leave our comfort zone, go outside of our comfort zone, and go play at a high level when it's just us being around each other. Now, I may feel differently after 3 straight weeks, but that's what I'm looking forward to this week for sure.
I know we've asked this question a lot already this season, but I'm going to ask it again. Obviously, two true freshmen have stood out locally. Emilio and Connor have continued to make an impact. Just what has allowed them to have such an impact, in their first year in the system?
Consistent people that have consistent habits, and you don't have a chance to play as a freshman if you don't. You are the person that I just mentioned. You do eliminate yourself. You don't know you do, but you do. Have very strong character people, have a really high capacity for handling of the workload that's required from a college football standpoint. And, and they're good at their craft. You can make, you put Connor in there in third down situations. He's as good a pass protector as he is catching the ball in the backfield and running the ball. And he's well documented what he's able to do when he gets the ball in his hands. So you don't get to that point in time unless you're really smart. You really take a true, authentic approach to the work required to do that. You have some of the toughness characteristics that we just talked about. You got to be mentally tough. I mean, that's a pretty tough moment for Emilio to have to go out there and hit a punt. Put them down inside the 20-yard line at the end of the game there, because if not, their field goal kicker just made a 50-yard field goal. So we didn't have much field position to play with right there. So tough moment for him, and he hit a punt that allowed us to get some field position back. He didn't shank it into the front row of the crowd. So I think it's a consistent approach to their work ethic. Really, really good people, and guys that have a really high sense of what the details look like.
I mean, putting Connor in that situation, obviously, that's a high pressure, big moment. Is that just zero hesitation? You have full trust in a true freshman being out there?
Yes. Yeah. Since he's got here in January, he's been, that's what it's been. It's been total consistency. And, and I think sometimes young players, they have a skewed opinion, and you can talk to our guys, they have a skewed opinion on what it's going to be like when you get there. They care about things that don't matter. They care about what jersey number they're going to wear. They care about what cheerleader thinks they're cute. They care about all the things how many pictures they get to put on their Instagram. That they care about all the things that don't matter. So for a young player to understand what's going to be required of him to be judged in the 12 opportunities a year that we're guaranteed, and the work required that goes into that. So you have those moments, you play really, really well. Man, oh man, that's a tip of cap to that person, and probably understanding that that's a product of really good parenting by his family and the way he raised them.